Send a message. Surrender or be destroyed. You have 1 hour. Admiral Zarek's voice, cold and imperious, echoed across the command deck of the Imperial Dreadnought Obsidian Lance. His crimson eyes flicked to the glowing tactical display, where Earth, a tiny blue orb, hovered in stark contrast to the endless black of space. Around it, the Empire's grand fleet loomed, 1,000 warships, each a masterpiece of alien engineering, bristling with weapons that could reduce a planet to ash. Zarek clasped his clawed hands behind his back, his ridged features twisted in disdain. Such a fragile world, he mused aloud, addressing no one in particular. And yet they resist. Foolish. Admiral, a younger officer ventured cautiously. Humanity has not responded to our initial warnings. Perhaps they are more stubborn than anticipated. Zarek's thin smile revealed sharp, predatory teeth. Stubbornness is no substitute for strength. They will fall like all the others. Their silence is nothing but fear. On Earth, thousands of miles beneath the planet's surface, in a fortified command bunker, Commander Nathan Cole leaned over a holographic map of the solar system. The glow illuminated his sharp features, a face carved by years of conflict and tempered by resolve. Around him, a cadre of military officials murmured anxiously, their fear palpable. "This isn't just a show of force," Nathan said, his deep voice cutting through the tension. "It's an execution. They outnumber us 1,000 to 1, one general snapped, his voice rising. "We can't fight them. Not with what we have." Nathan straightened, his piercing gaze silencing the room. "We don't need 1,000 ships," he said. "We only need one." A stunned silence followed. "You're referring to that ship," said a grizzled colonel, his tone skeptical. "The Dauntless hasn't seen combat in decades. It's an antique." Nathan smirked, a flicker of defiance in his otherwise calm demeanor. "The Dauntless isn't just a ship. It's a symbol of what humanity can achieve when pushed to the brink. And it's not the ship's age that matters. It's the crew." At his words, Lieutenant Marcus Hayes stepped forward, his uniform crisp and his confidence unshakable. "We've run simulations," Marcus said, his voice firm. "The Dauntless is faster and more adaptable than anything the Empire's fleet can field. With our modifications, it can take the fight to them in ways they won't expect." "And the weapon?" another officer asked. Nathan's expression darkened. "It's ready, but it's a last resort. If we have to use it, it means we're already in deep." Chief Engineer Liam Carter, a towering man with grease-stained hands and an unflappable demeanor, chimed in. "If it flies, I can keep it flying. Just point us at the enemy, and we'll make sure they regret ever coming here." Nathan placed his hands on the table, leaning forward. "This is humanity's fight, not just for Earth, but for our right to exist on our own terms. If they think we'll roll over and die, they've made their first mistake." Back aboard the Obsidian Lance, Zarek's patience was thinning. The hour had passed, and Earth's silence remained unbroken. "Admiral," the communications officer reported, no response from the planet. They refused to surrender. Zarek's smile returned, colder than before. "So be it. Begin Phase 1. Destroy their orbital infrastructure and isolate their world." As the order was relayed, dozens of alien warships broke formation, their engines igniting in synchronized precision. From the surface, they appeared as falling stars, streaking toward their targets. Within moments, Earth satellites were obliterated, communications severed, and vital surveillance rendered blind. "Pathetic," Zarek sneered. "They don't even resist. Their fear is palpable." "Admiral," another officer interjected, his voice hesitant, "our long-range scanners have detected a ship leaving Earth's atmosphere. It's heading toward us." Zarek raised an eyebrow. "A ship? Singular?" "Yes, Admiral. Its design is unusual. It doesn't match any known human configurations. The energy readings are erratic, almost chaotic. The Admiral's smirk widened. Desperation. They send a relic to face the might of an empire. Let it come. We'll swat it down like the insect it is. On board the Dauntless, Nathan stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the tactical display. Around him, his crew worked with disciplined efficiency. Every man focused on the task at hand. Status report, Nathan ordered. Engines at full capacity, Liam replied. Weapons systems primed. Shields holding steady. Enemy fleets already on the move, Marcus added, his tone clipped. Looks like they're targeting our satellites. They think we're blind. Nathan allowed himself a grim smile. Good. Let them underestimate us. It'll make the fall that much harder. The Dauntless accelerated, its engines roaring with a power that belied its age. As the ship broke through the upper atmosphere, the crew got their first glimpse of the enemy armada. A collective silence fell over the bridge. The sheer scale of the fleet was overwhelming, an unending sea of metallic behemoths bristling with firepower. Marcus let out a low whistle. That's a lot of ships. Just means we've got plenty of targets, Nathan said, his voice steady. Everyone knows their role. We've trained for this. Now, let's show them what one ship can do. Admiral Zarek watched as the Dauntless approached, his confidence unshaken. Open a channel, he commanded. The human ship's image flickered onto the screen. Nathan Cole stood front and center, his gaze sharp and unyielding. This is Commander Nathan Cole of the Dauntless, he said, his tone calm but laced with steel. You've made a grave mistake coming here. Turn back now, or we'll make sure none of you leave alive. Zarek laughed, a cold, grating sound. Brave words for a man commanding a single ship. Do you really think you can stand against the might of the Empire? Nathan's expression didn't waver. We don't need to stand against your empire. We only need to break you. The transmission cut, and Zarek's amusement faded. He leaned forward, his claws gripping the armrests of his command chair. Destroy that ship. The Dauntless surged forward, its crew ready. The battle for Earth had begun. Incoming fire. Marcus Hayes shouted from his station, his fingers dancing over the controls. The Dauntless shuddered as enemy plasma bolts streaked past, lighting up the view screen with flashes of green and gold. The ship's shields flared in response, holding steady but not invincible. Nathan Cole stood tall at the center of the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. His voice was calm despite the chaos. Evasive maneuvers now. Make them work for every shot. The helmsman complied instantly, and the Dauntless rolled, banking hard to avoid the next volley. The ancient ship moved with a grace that seemed impossible for its age, weaving through enemy fire like a predator dodging claws. Target the lead cruiser, Nathan ordered. We'll show them what this ship is capable of. Marcus's eyes flicked to his targeting screen. Locked on, ready to fire. Nathan gave a single nod. Do it. A low hum filled the bridge as the Dauntless railguns powered up, followed by the sharp crack of tungsten slugs hurtling through space at unimaginable speeds. The first shot struck the enemy cruiser dead center, piercing its shields and gutting its hull in a fiery explosion. Shrapnel tore through the nearby vessels, causing secondary detonations. The bridge crew erupted in muted cheers, but Nathan's expression remained steely. Stay focused. This is far from over. Admiral Zarek watched the destruction unfold from the obsidian lance with a growing sense of irritation. One human ship, and it dares to challenge us? This is an insult. Admiral, their weaponry is unconventional, one of his officers reported. It's not energy-based like ours. They're using kinetic projectiles. Zarek sneered. Primitive. Redirect our frigates to intercept. Overwhelm them with numbers. Nathan observed the new formation on the tactical display. Smaller enemy ships were closing in, flanking the Dauntless from all sides. He turned to Marcus. "Deploy the countermeasures. Let's give them a surprise." Marcus grinned. "Deploying now." Dozens of pods ejected from the Dauntless, dispersing into the surrounding space. As the frigates drew closer, the pods exploded, releasing clouds of electromagnetic chaff and reflective particles. The enemy's targeting systems faltered, their precision shots veering off course or missing entirely. Chief Engineer Liam Carter, watching from a secondary console, let out a satisfied grunt. Old school tricks. They never see it coming. Nathan's eyes remain locked on the display. Old tricks still work. "Marcus," while they're disoriented, "give me a firing solution on their rear line." Marcus's hands flew over his controls. Solution locked. Firing now. The Dauntless unleashed another barrage, this time aimed at the enemy support vessels. The explosions rippled through the fleet, causing chaos as damaged ships collided with one another. "Admiral, their tactics are unorthodox," Zarek's tactical officer stammered. "They're exploiting gaps in our formation." Zarek slammed a clawed hand onto the armrest of his chair. "Enough. Concentrate all firepower on that ship. I want it destroyed now." The Imperial fleet regrouped, their ships forming a tight wall as they unleashed a storm of plasma fire. The Dauntless shook violently as its shields absorbed the brunt of the assault. Alarms blared across the bridge, and warning lights bathed the crew in red. "Shields at 60%. Marcus called out, his voice tinged with urgency. Nathan's jaw tightened, but his voice remained steady. "Hold the line. Liam, how are the engines holding up?" Liam's voice crackled through the comms. "She's running hot, but she'll hold. Just don't ask me for a marathon." "Good. Prepare for a jump." The bridge crew exchanged uncertain glances, but no one questioned the order. Marcus hesitated for a split second before asking, "A jump? Into their formation?" Nathan's eyes burned with determination. "Exactly. They're expecting us to run. Let's show them we don't play by their rules." The Dauntless surged forward, its engines roaring as it accelerated directly toward the heart of the Imperial fleet. Plasma bolts rained down, each one a potential death sentence. But the ship pushed through, its shields flickering under the strain. "Target their command ship," Nathan commanded. "The Obsidian Lance?" Marcus asked, incredulous. Nathan nodded. "Cut off the head, and the body will fall." The Dauntless emerged from its jump in the middle of the enemy formation, chaos erupting around it. Smaller ships scrambled to adjust their positions, colliding in the confusion. Before the Imperial fleet could react, the Dauntless fired a concentrated salvo at the Obsidian Lance. The bridge of the Imperial flagship shuddered as explosions tore through its hull. Sparks rained down, and Zarek was thrown from his chair. "What is happening?" he roared, his composure shattered. "Admiral, their ship," the tactical officer began, but the sentence was cut off as another blast rocked the ship. Nathan watched the devastation unfold with grim satisfaction. "Marcus, pull us back. Let them feel the sting, but don't overstay our welcome." The Dauntless executed a sharp maneuver, evading the enemy's retaliatory fire as it retreated to a safer distance. On the bridge of the Obsidian Lance, Zarek seethed with rage. This is not over. They will pay for this humiliation. Nathan stood resolute, his gaze fixed on the view screen. "Let them regroup. We'll be ready. This is just the beginning." The Dauntless hovered in the void, battered but unbroken. Behind it, Earth shone like a beacon of defiance, a reminder of what was at stake. The bridge of the Dauntless buzzed with tense activity as the Imperial fleet reorganized for a final push. Nathan Cole leaned over the tactical display, his face set in grim determination. The lone ship had held its ground longer than anyone could have imagined, But now the Empire was done underestimating humanity. "Captain," Marcus Hayes called out, his voice tight. "They're reforming their lines. It looks like they're going all in this time. Full frontal assault." "Good," Nathan said, his voice as sharp as the edge of a blade. "That means we've rattled them. If they're coming straight at us, they'll be more predictable." Liam Carter's voice crackled through the comm system from engineering. "Cap, I've got bad news and worse news. The reactor's at 120% capacity. If we push any harder, we'll be scraping ourselves off the inside of the ship. Also, we're down to 30% ammunition." "Understood, Liam," Nathan replied. "Keep her together as long as you can. We're not done yet." The tactical display lit up with dozens of red blips converging on their position. The Dauntless floated like a lone predator in the void, battered but unbroken. Nathan straightened, his gaze sweeping the bridge. "This is where we hold the line," he said, his voice ringing with calm authority. "We've made them bleed, and now we show them what it means to fight humanity." Marcus glanced at him. "Orders, Captain." Nathan stepped forward. "Bring all remaining weapons online. Target their command ships first. If we take out their leadership, we might just break their resolve." The Dauntless fired, its remaining turrets unleashing a ferocious barrage. Explosions rippled through the darkness as several smaller ships were obliterated, but the core of the fleet pressed on, undeterred. On the Obsidian Lance, Admiral Zarek watched the lone human vessel with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "This ship should not exist," he hissed. "It's an anomaly, a relic. Destroy it, and ensure no trace of it remains." A young officer hesitated. "Admiral, the fleet is sustaining heavy losses. Their weaponry is unlike anything we've seen. Should we consider regrouping?" Zarek's eyes blazed. "Cowardice. Humanity must be crushed, or they will become a threat greater than anything we've faced. No retreat." Back on the Dauntless, alarms blared as a barrage of enemy fire slammed into the ship's shields. Sparks flew from the consoles, and the deck shuddered violently. "Shields down to 15%. Marcus shouted. "Hull breaches in sectors 4 and 7. Nathan remained composed, though his knuckles whitened as he gripped the console. "Liam, divert all auxiliary power to the forward shields." "Marcus, prepare for evasive maneuvers." "Aye, Captain," Marcus responded, his fingers dancing across the controls. The Dauntless twisted and turned, dodging the worst of the incoming fire. Nathan's mind raced, weighing their dwindling options. Then an idea struck him, a gamble but their only chance. "Liam," Nathan called into the comm, "how's the reactor looking?" "On the verge of tearing itself apart." Liam shot back. "Whatever you're thinking, it better be quick." "We're going to use it," Nathan said, his tone firm. "If we overload the reactor and release the energy in a controlled burst, we can disable their fleet temporarily. It'll buy us time to finish them off." Marcus stared at him, wide-eyed. "You're talking about detonating our reactor? We'd be sitting ducks after that." Nathan met his gaze. "We're already sitting ducks, Marcus. This is our shot." Liam's voice crackled again, quieter this time. "It's risky, but it might work. I'll prep the reactor." "Do it," Nathan ordered. The Dauntless slowed, its movements deliberate as it drew the enemy fleet closer. The Imperial ships surged forward, believing their prey was finally faltering. "Enemy ships closing to point-blank range," Marcus said, his voice tense. Nathan's gaze was locked on the tactical display. "Good. Let them come." The reactor's hum deepened, a low vibration reverberating through the ship as Liam pushed it to its limits. Nathan took a deep breath, his voice steady as he gave the final command. Release the pulse. A blinding surge of energy erupted from the Dauntless, rippling outward in a massive wave. The Imperial ships, caught off guard, were thrown into disarray. Systems shorted out, engines sputtered, and weapons fell silent. The fleet drifted helplessly, their formation shattered. On the obsidian lance, Zarek slammed his fist against the console. What is this? Nathan wasted no time. Marcus, target their command ships and fire. We take out their leadership now. The Dauntless unleashed its remaining weapons, each shot precise and devastating. One by one, the Imperial command ships were obliterated, their destruction sending shockwaves of panic through the fleet. Zarek's face paled as his flagship rocked from the impacts. "Retreat!" he barked, the word bitter on his tongue. All ships fall back. As the Imperial fleet scattered, the Dauntless floated in the void, its systems flickering but functional. Nathan exhaled slowly, the weight of the battle finally lifting. Marcus turned to him, a tired smile breaking through. "They're running. We did it." Nathan nodded, his expression resolute. "We showed them what humanity is capable of. This isn't just a victory, it's a warning. They'll think twice before coming back." Earth loomed in the distance, scarred but safe. The Dauntless, battered yet unyielding, stood as a symbol of humanity's indomitable spirit, a testament to the power of one ship and the determination of those who refused to surrender.